Welcome back to the channel. So I thought we would kick off with doing some reviews, some short reviews, just trying to highlight a few things that some of you guys might not know, a little bit of a crossover video if you like. A lot of us get into our own things and we get ultra focused, you know, I'm a scale modeler, I build tanks, don't look at aircraft, so on and so forth. I'm coming at this angle from just bringing in a bit of the wargaming side of stuff, because I don't know if any of you know on the channel, but I do have a bit of a dark side as well. I do like a little bit of Warhammer figures, Lord of the Rings figures, all that sort of stuff, all the gaming figures. I don't bring it into this channel because that's not what this channel's about, but there are some crossover products that are of interest, and one of the ones I want to highlight today are tufts. Tufts. Now, we all know what tufts are. I expect we've all come across them. They're very useful in dioramas, but they are a good way of livening some of your armour up, and that's where it's going to be really focused on. Although you could do it if you've got a base for some aircraft. So if I take this little base here with a resin tank that I nearly dropped, getting it over here, this is meant to be showing a desert. It's very two-dimensional. Now, I think there's ways to help these sort of scenes out. You know, having a figure gives scale. So I've got a figure there. Let's put the tank on. It's a very small little tank, like a little tractor tank. But if we were to put some tufts just sort of in the middle, just randomly, one here, a couple over there, maybe one at the front, it just sort of livens it up and gives a bit of feel to the scene. Now, you've got all sorts here. I've got some red ones. These are really for the wargaming stuff. But a great way of going about adding a little bit of interest is getting some of this added on. I'll take the figure off because he's going to fall off. The gamer grass ones that I've got here are probably what I'd be highlighting. You can see the thickness as well. There's different amounts in each one, and that relates to the size and the price. These being the cheapest at around £4.50, £5. You can get them on Amazon, and these are quite small, and usually when you've got your gaming figure, you know, you'd put a tuft on there or something, just again for the same reason, to break up the base. Where we can use them is certainly on, like I say, armour and basing our models, which I think we should all be encouraged to do, really. And it's one of the things that's like an afterthought, I think. But basing models, it's quite important. Certainly if you're going to take them to shows or even for competitions or anything like that, exhibiting, it always gives context to the model. And if you add a figure, for instance, as well, which you don't want to do with everything, it's more difficult to put figures next to aircraft. It gives scale as well. It's a very quick way of your eye telling your brain, that's that size, I see what it is, I'm linked in now. Because this could be a monster tank, really. You've got no idea, but then when you put the figure next to it, you realise it's an extremely small thing. So that's the idea, and breaking up the groundwork with some tufts is an easy way around it. Obviously you can make these yourself. They're not quite as simple as some people think, I believe, because they're static grass in little, let's have a look. On a sheet of greaseproof paper, there's like little bits of glue, and where they've sprinkled the static grass, they've sort of formed a little tuft. And what you do is you just pick them off. I won't pick this one off because we're not going to use this one. Now, where it's quite, again, I think quite useful, he says, trying to get this back in, is for armour modelling. That's what I'm going to focus on. But obviously you can interpret this however you want. If you do figures, they're going to look good on that as well. These are really for gaming. These are 6mm. That's the size of the static grass. These are still 6mm, but there's quite a few there's 2 layers in here. It's the same amount. It's just the way it's been done. It's different colours, so you get 4 lots. These are for dry step. Now that gives you an example of what it looks like, or can look like, and what it can do. It's obviously quite heavily ladened, but it does give you an idea of how realistic it looks. And of course you can paint them as well, because the important thing to remember usually with anything diorama related is it's always more realistic if you paint stuff. Now I think this is set in Spain, deserty, dry Spain. I think something like this, let's have a look, let's offer it up, see what happens. If we look at that colour, it's a little bit stark. This colour would probably look the part, and again we can actually paint it, like I said. So what you do is I like to grab the small tufts. They are a little bit sticky as well, sometimes you need to glue them on. And if you just sort of pick a spot and stick it in like that, you've now got a little bit of raised definition. You can see through there that it's a static grass as well. It just kind of starts to bring things to life. Let's stick the tank next to it, and it doesn't look out of place. That's the thing we're looking for. You know, if it looked wildly out of place, then we've probably picked the wrong colour or the wrong size. But there you go. It's really quite good. So I'm gonna chuck in a couple more, and we've got some that are helpfully kind of gone together there as well. They're in like 2 bits, so I might grab one of those. I'll just put that back here. Something that is hard, it's almost a ridiculous thing to say until you try it. Me personally, I find it very difficult to do random. You know, I'd go, right, I'm going to go one there, one there, one there, one there, one. Before you know it, you've got a zigzag pattern. You think, why have I made a zigzag pattern? I'm trying to be random. It just seems to be how my brain's wired. I find it very difficult. So, like, to go random is actually harder than it looks, but it's something you want to try and do as well. It's an important thing to think about. Now, I've got some of this here. I actually like the look of this. This is called Spiky Beige. Hang on, Spiky Beige? Yeah, it is called Spiky Beige. But it's, I think this might even be that seafoam stuff or something like that, because it's really quite tall. There's quite a lot of it there. Now, I'm going to just try and split one of these in half if possible. I've actually, well done, Jason. Let's take a bit of glue with it. Let's go like that. I'm just going to put that there. We pull a few of the bits that are hanging off. And that just gives us a random little kind of deserty, strange, spiky thing. Now, I might actually change the way the model goes now. Maybe go for something like that and set the scene. It's always nice to have it at a slant as well. Maybe bring it back and then put old matey. I might have him there. And then it shows the scale and it's not something that's out of place. Now, that's obviously me doing that slightly off the hoof. But it's an interesting way to show you what can be done and the way you can sort of build stuff up. And it's just something that they're relatively inexpensive. You don't need to buy 2 lots. You know, what were these? I think they were sort of £6–7, most of these, from eBay, from Amazon, sorry. And I think you can get them. I actually struggled to find the company. They're made in Portugal. Gamer Grass, made in Portugal. So gamergrass.com, so that's the place to look. And you can get it all worldwide. Like I said, I found them on Amazon. They were all over the place, but I managed to find a UK seller. I probably paid a premium to get them through that. Now, I actually went to Games Expo earlier in the year, and that's where I picked these up. And I must admit, it might have actually been the guys there. I just didn't think about it at the time. I was sort of just going up. It's like their version of Scale Model World, if you like, only it's on a massive scale in comparison, and I was just kind of going up there with an open mind, but I did pick up these, so I expect this is a show price, and it was amazing the amount that they had there, and I just wasn't sort of zoned in to even thinking about for modelling. Now, I was also at Tank Fest, and there was another gaming company there, and they were selling these, and they said that it's a local company that supports them. It was a I wish I'd known what they were called now. It was a board game. Well, it's like board game and war gaming. They had bolt action, all that sort of stuff. Based in Poole. So I expect they're easy to find. They're an independent. And they had these. So this is Warpainter Scenic, so it's warpainter.net. And the thing to point out here is actually how good value these are, because you get absolutely tons for £4. I mean, look at all that. Now these are quite vibrant, and I actually bought these really more based on the idea that I'd paint them. So I'd put them on a scene and then maybe paint it all. Not quite as extreme as you've seen old Night Shift painting it mahogany, but I'd usually probably pick out the colours or paint it earth colour and then go on from there, or you can just sort of paint it black and then start from square one, whichever works for you. So that's another way of getting them as well. And you can see there I've got Enchanted Green and no name. What you can see here as well, I don't know if you can, but there is an awful lot of bits of static grass. So that does happen. So you obviously want to bear that in mind. But there is a little crossover from some wargaming stuff, which I think it's just worth highlighting. You could all know about it, but if you don't, they're a very simple way of quickly adding stuff. And actually, a little secret, the stuff that you get scale modelling based is usually £2, £3, £4, £5 on top, and it's the same thing. So it might be worth looking just at other places, and like I can say, I can highly recommend Warpainter Scenics in Gamers Grass. So hopefully that's a little bit of interest, and something a little bit different to help you get your models based.